Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm moving away from the rules, and I'm moving away from the painting, the hobby, the narrative, all of that stuff, and I'm going to my own sort of fluff and narrative, if you want. What I'm going to talk about today is my best and worst game of Kill Team. So consider this a little story time. I'm going to keep it nice and concise, with only the bare minimum of divergences as the story requires. Now, I should probably point out this is completely unscripted, and so I apologise straight away. Hopefully, I will fix this story in editing. But if you're on my channel right now and you're a subscriber, I would like to give you a double hello. What a delightful sound that was. Very wholesome, I think we can all enjoy. If you want a second pleasantry for yourself in my next video and all subsequent videos after that, like, subscribe, leave a comment right now, and it's yours. Now, I've played a lot of Kill Team, and to simply pick my best and worst games, I didn't really know where to start, and to be honest, I haven't thought about it that much. I just went with my gut. These are both tournament games, which might go a little bit of a ways to explain to you possibly why I focus on the competitive side of the game so much. You know, I'm never really talking about the fluff and the narrative. I'm talking about competitive, how to start playing so that you can play with me one day, that sort of thing. That's what I really enjoy. The more the better. Now, I have quite a roster of games to pick from here. I suppose a few highlights that maybe you think, that's what he's going to say, except I guarantee you that none of you know my best or worst games. No matter how long you've followed me, I think I have mentioned my best game. No, actually, you know what? I have mentioned both my best and worst game once before. They're not the same game as well. Let's get that out there right now. These are different games, but I will say that I did lose both of them, which obviously with my worst game kind of makes sense. But how could a game I lost be my best game? Let's get into it. I should probably start with a few notable mentions, and they have to be at LVO 2019, which bizarrely takes place in 2020. So it was a year ago now. My very first game, I was up against Michael T. Holy, and I won the match. I know a lot of people might think, that's the best. Surely that's the best. No, I didn't like that one. It was good. Really enjoyed to play him, obviously. And maybe it would be my best, except I kind of feel like I didn't really win it, because we ended up playing to time. And because we played to time, it was very clear that if we had continued, and like literally just another 10 minutes, he would have taken it, no questions asked. And so although I did win completely within the rules, I just felt like it wasn't a genuine win. And then in my second game at LVO, after taking on Michael T. Holy and winning, I took on Birinid and won. And you might think, okay, all right, he was with a fellow content creator. And this time, I don't feel like I ran out of time, like in the first one. It was a more legitimate win. No, not that either. That was good. I really enjoyed playing against Birinid. Great to do that. We're friends. We talk online all the time. It's good to play him in person, not on TTS, etc. But no, that wasn't my best or my worst game either. These are the honourable mentions. There's also when I went to Kiev and I played against a whole bunch of guys and girls there. Some very fond memories of that, not so much because of the way the games went, but just the vibe, the experience. That was really good for me as well. Okay, let's get down to it. My worst game of Kill Team first, okay? Because that's kind of more fun, I think. Because actually my best game of Kill Team is going to sound quite boring. So let's go with my worst game of Kill Team. I was playing my Grey Knights, my Storm Knights, my Stormcast conversion Grey Knights. It was in London at Bad Moon Cafe. That seems to be my local these days, or well, before COVID. It was a 32-man tournament. There was all the locals that I know down there playing good games. It was good fun. And we come to it was a 5-round tournament because there were 32 players. And we came to the 4th round. I'd already played 3 rounds. I believe first round was Tau, second round was Death Guard, third round was Thousand Suns. We come to the 4th, and I won all, like unquestionably, good play on both sides. I was rolling hot. Obviously, you kind of have to if you're going to win with Grey Knights. We come to the 4th round and I come up against Azayani. Now, I know how bad Azayani are, and I knew my opponent. In fact, I had played a few practice games with this same guy, as he wanted to find out just how Azayani play into Grey Knights, so I obliged. And in our practice game, I rolled hot, and I just blew him off the board. I managed to take out his Howling Banshee and his fusion guns. I think he killed one of my guys, and I just knocked him away. It was a strong showing from the GK there. But in this, I don't know what I was doing. I don't want to put it just on dice, that you can always mitigate dice in some manner. But this was bad. I conceded at the end, I want to say at the end of turn 1. Like, that's how bad it went. It could have been that I conceded at the end of turn 2, you know, memory, what is it? But let me tell you how it goes. At that time, I believe we were playing the SoCal tournament at 100 points, but no arena. So maybe that wasn't SoCal, I can't remember. And I think we were doing the deployment where it's like triangles in the corner of the board. Now, oh man, this was so bad. I don't even know how it went this bad. It was like, it was comically bad. Long story short, I moved up, I got first turn. So that's always bad. You don't want initiative turn 1, not against anyone, basically. So I lost that role, essentially. But I moved up. I knew that I wanted to cover the central point on the far side of the board so that he couldn't just sit on it and kind of win on points turn 1. But in doing this, he managed to get a Howling Banshee charge into 2 of my Marines, and then in the combat phase, killed both of them. And I think I then broke at the end of turn 1, so I just conceded. Which, to be fair, is totally fine. Like, I don't have an issue with my conceding. But like, oh my, it was horrendous. And it's like, okay, that's fine. That happens in practice games. It's fine. These things happen sometimes. This was a tournament game when I had steamrolled the entire day, and then this just came out of nowhere. I think in reality what happened was I had just decided to, I was doing really well. I decided to just rest on my laurels, and I just kind of took it. And it was like, man. If you can't tell from the fact that I'd won 3 games up to this point, if I had beaten this one, I would have been top 2. So I'd have been playing the other guy there that had won all of their games so far. But I just completely crumbled. Like, it was horrendous. Anyway, so that meant that the Azyani player went on, and in the final, he played against another Azyani player. That's the thing. For those of you that have forgotten during lockdown just how disgustingly strong Azyani are, that's the thing. And then in the final game, I can't actually remember who I went up against, to be honest. I ended up coming 3rd in the tournament, so it's not like it was the biggest deal ever. But anyway, that was genuinely my worst game. It was a tournament game. I'd been doing really well the entire day, and I just went headfirst into a brick wall, and he destroyed me. And it was such a total obliteration that I didn't know what to do. So I conceded. Turn 1 in a tournament. Damn. So as you could tell, my worst game was basically my own embarrassment at performing so poorly. If it had just been dice, fine, right? And okay, you could probably argue that, well, the Howling Banshee shouldn't have really gotten in. He needed a 10-inch charge and he made it, blah, blah, blah. But he made it. He got in. He killed 2 of my Marines turn 1. I broke turn 1, etc., etc. Now let's talk my best game of Kill Team ever. Now, this game actually took place on TTS. I hadn't been playing a huge amount of Kill Team before then, either on TTS or in person. I'd kind of had a month off because I had just come back from LVO and then back from Prague, and TTS was just kind of kicking off. And I believe this was in the 2nd tournament that the Command Point guys ran. I had decided to take Custodes because I just wanted a couple of quick games. I didn't really want to put too much effort in. Custodes, only 3 models. You don't have to think too hard. You don't have to spend too much. The game's going to be over pretty quickly. I was up against Necrons, and it came down to the wire. I lost the game by a single point. And I know exactly why the reason was. And the reason this is my best game is because 100% this loss had nothing to do with dice. The mistake that I made was not dice related. And I like to think of this game and these mistakes when I think of why the movement phase is so good and why Kill Team is so good. And this all just kind of defines it for me. Basically, in turn 3, so, not even the final turn of the game, I had charged in, I'd gotten the kill, I'd then forgotten to consolidate. The whole point of being I would consolidate back onto the point after charging 2 models. To get the second charge, I had to go around the first, off the point. Then I got the kill, and I should have moved back onto the point so that I was holding instead of just contesting. And I forgot to do it. And it was honestly just so nice. I realised this sounds odd, But I'm a pretty salty player, right? I'm pretty childish and immature. And if I could blame dice, I probably will. I will look to a situation and say, oh, look at that. Well, I rolled statistically under average. And so, it was still a good decision to make that move. But, what can I do? It's dice, right? And it's true, it is a game of dice. But in this, it was just movement. And it was the complex movement. It was the piling, consolidation type stuff. And I looked at it at the end of the game, and it was just so clear. I was like, yes, this is my fault. I am glad that I lost. I am glad that it was a really close game, and that the reason I lost was so clear and definitive. I had played the rest of the game well. I had gotten average dice rolls, but I had forgotten a single movement. And that is an amazing, great reason to lose. Because of a mistake you made. That is Kill Team, guys. It's so hard to describe to people why that's a good thing in my mind, but I promise you it really is. There's no salt in this. I would happily lose every game of Kill Team in that way for all time, and I would continue to be happy. Because making that mistake, losing, not because of dice, 100% not because of dice, but because of your own mistake, you learn. And you think that was a good game. I mean, was the rest of the game actually good? Can't remember. Probably. But that distinct loss, the reason, yep, there you go. That was my best game and my worst game. The best game purely because of game mechanics. The worst game, partly emotional. I remember I was pretty annoyed at that, at myself, for putting myself in a position where I could lose so hard to it. Because if I hadn't done that, I'd have been, top 2, like guaranteed sort of thing. And yeah, there you go. Anyway, these are my 2 kind of most memorable games, if you want to view it that way, my best and my worst. I'm curious, do you guys have a story? Do you guys have anything rivaling my best and worst stories? Obviously, when you hear that one of the reasons why I loved this game was because I forgot to consolidate, maybe you think, yeah, Glass, of course I can beat that story. That's a boring story. And fair play to you. If you want to tell me your story, leave a comment. That'd be great engagement. But more importantly, tell me when you think you are going to next be able to create those stories. Are you currently playing TTS and you're having some of the best games of your Kill Team career? Or are you already marking in the calendar, this is when my state, country, whatever, should open up and I can get back out there? But for now, I'm going to have to leave you because, as you can see up there, the way I'm sitting, my left leg is actually genuinely asleep. I cannot feel my foot. And it's tingling. It's pretty bad. So I'm going to have to give up on this one, guys. But of course, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. It really helps a small channel like mine. And I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Thank you very much. Everybody, I hope you've had a good day and continue to have a good day. Despite all the salt, remember that we love Kill Team. It's a great game and it genuinely brings us closer to other people, helps us make friends. It's a social tool. Goodbye.